baby's home. Cairo, Cairo is my baby's home. One bad Cairo night won't be long. Women in Cairo, they will treat you kind and sweet. Women in Cairo, they will treat you kind and sweet. Catch you riding and take you off your feet. Shoot you and knock you, teach you and cut you too. Shoot you and knock you, teach you and cut you too. They get through the graveyard, then for you. Women in Cairo send you down to your grave.
Welcome. Livestream Blue Monday number 97, approaching 100. I hope you're going to follow with me all the way to that number 100, which is going to be a very special one. It's a kind of a turning point. It's going to be a crossroad. Like, yeah, we'll be doing something else after that. Great to see you here, guys. Albert was first. Hi, and wholeheartedly welcome. Maybe you will notice that my voice is a bit hoarse because I've been singing almost all day and talking and, you know, mixing all that. Hello, Milovan, great to see you too. Patrick, hello. Mr. G Open, I know you love that tuning, so it's going to be something in G Open definitely today, and the blues backup is going to be in Open G. So, good. All right, just let me know, as usual, if everything is okay with video, audio, if you hear me well, and I'm tinkering all the time, you know how it is. Hello, Gore, great to see you back. Thank you for your emails, nice correspondence we got now, that's great. Thank you. Good. So, I've had some kind of, well, not a questionnaire, but I'm just wondering, I know where you guys are coming from, at least those of you who are usually in the chat, but I also know there are lots of people watching on let's say, Facebook, without saying hi, without just reacting. I get quite a few likes here and there, but then after the live stream, you go and see how many people watched it. It can be sometimes between 100 and 150 people watching. So you who are not so keen to say hi, doesn't matter. Hey, this is a live stream. Just enjoy. If you're enjoying it, that's great. It's great that you're watching. But if you have any suggestions, if you have any wishes for me to play or do some things that can improve your playing in a way that you're aware of or something, well, just let me know. So yeah, we are going to do something special today, which is to say hello to Maria from Malmö. Hello and welcome. Great to see you too, as well as the others. So today's live stream is going to be about this. I found it an art of refining the arrangements where that doesn't have anything with the complexity of playing, with the complexity of grips, chord changes, harmonies, stuff. It's mostly about the groove, that we follow the groove of the song, or that we create a groove within a song, which can be done by rehearsing, by practicing, by playing a song many times while we're at home, and then we go and play it live, and then we have a good library of licks or patterns or whatever we've learned and came up with while we were practicing to deliver live. Now there is a hurdle. There's always this thing that some people tell me that they struggle with, which is, man, I do this perfectly at home. And it's not just this stage fright or something, but when you play at home, you can just stop and redo the thing. And sometimes you can come up with an idea and then just sail on to exploring that idea further, whatever. But when you're playing live, it's like, okay, this is a song, this is my frame, it's got to have a beginning and the end. And when everything just starts rolling, it seems like the memory and the library of licks and things we could do kind of shrinks proportionally to the excitement, to whatever we need to deliver. It may be just a family thing, or it can be a gig at a big club. It can be anything, right? But usually even pros have problems with that. I'm not sure I can call myself pro because I'm not only doing gigging for a living, which this is another discussion, maybe for another live stream. What makes a pro pro? Do you have to make a living out of your music, or does it come to, am I on a professional level of playing? Will people call me? I don't call them. Well, let me tell you, even the most established artists have agencies who do call you for gigs. If you're a venue owner, festival arranger or something. So it's a very tricky definition of, okay, who's a pro, who's not a pro? And is it important to be a pro or not? I think in the many cases, a pro is somebody who is ready to sacrifice a commodity for the excitement of being on the road, being always on the edge of performing, trying to entertain other people, trying to do it in a way that, sometimes you get money for that, sometimes you'll do it for free. And as I said, it's a tricky thing to discuss, maybe not really now. But everybody struggles with that kind of shrinking amount of things that we can come up with while we're playing live. So I have this customer base of people who come to my guitar retreats that I'm shamelessly promoting now because it's in the summer, right? So whoever lives in Sweden or around, I have people coming from, they came from the UK, I have people from Denmark, I had people from Norway, that's right. So everybody's welcome. But anyway, the thing is that my customers usually say that that is a problem. How can I be aware of everything that I could do while I'm playing and while I have several other things that are distracting me? Seeing people, in their eyes while I'm singing or playing, seeing that everybody is really watching me. Some people maybe, if you're playing at the restaurant, it's kind of 50-50 or 80-20 of people who are not listening and those who are listening. Depends on the gig, it depends on the occasion, but they usually ask me, how do I solve that problem? And my answer could be as simple as play very simple. Nobody knows how good or how complicated you could play if you wanted. You start from silence, and whatever you put out from that silence point, if you have the groove with it, it's going to be okay. And if your song has a story to tell, if it's a song that you're singing, concentrate on lyrics, concentrate on the eye contact with the people and tell them that story. Let the guitar be your total servant, a slave that just, accomplishes that backup that you need in order to be able to tell the story. Then at some point within a song, of course, you're going to have the chance to do something more. And then you will have a very nice and strong base to start from. I will demonstrate all this. So you will have a nice base to start from, and then just adding small pieces of arrangement, some nice notes, grooves, chord changes maybe, bass runs can add enormously to the arrangement. And, it's just an amazing thing that I've started doing when I got more mature as a performer. When I was younger, it was really just on steroids, just deliver, lick after lick, lick after lick, and I wasn't really playing dynamically. Now when I listen to my old recordings, I really love to hear that because it's so driven, it's so full of energy and uncontrolled energy sometimes, and it's wonderful. But I know that I enjoy much more nowadays when I can get under the skin of the groove and maybe just push it as much as I want, as much as the occasion asks for, and it's a nice feeling. I'm not saying I'm there yet, but I'm on the way. You never finish learning as a musician. It's just that way. It's the way it is. So let me see if somebody else joined us, and then we'll go on with the backup. Bertil, great to see you. Pete, welcome back. Bertil is also welcome back, of course. You've been here before. Good. People greeting each other, which is wonderful, as usual. I love to see that. And let's go on with the backup. And that backup is going to be in open G this time. So if you have your guitars in open G, nice. If not, play just in the key of G with me. You don't have to play the same thing that I'm playing. And if you want to play in the shape of the E chord, then just put the capo on the 3rd fret and play in the grip of E. And then we're all set. So it's going to be a slow blues, kind of a country blues influenced, a little bit of influenced by maybe Big Joe Williams, some Son House, Muddy Waters, and so I hope you guys are ready, and we'll just go on with So that was a backup, and it incorporated a couple of licks, of course, and I was trying to kind of sing in the background. I'm kind of like, what would I play if I would, sing something behind this? And some of the stuff I did was very, very basic. Some stuff was a bit sophisticated and not for somebody maybe who is just starting off playing slide guitar or open tunings. This craves for, first of all, a steady bass technique so that you have this. Let me just do one thing. I think my guitar was a little bit too loud at moments. This is really a true beast of a guitar, so yeah, I think it's going to be better now. Well, anyway, so this basic groove that I'm doing with my thumb is either 1, 2, 3, 4, or sometimes double. Then, and if you listen carefully, you will see that I'm not picking only the 5th string. It's usually the 4th as well, sometimes even the 3rd, but they're kind of dampened with the wrist of my hand, with the palm of my hand up here. So it's going like, I kind of let it ring at times, but then I would kind of. So that's your first level of dynamics. Either you're going to let it ring, or you're going to cut it off, or you're going to kind of do something in between. Maybe a part of a measure that's like a 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to be with strings ringing, and a part is going to be with the strings dampened, which also depends on what I'm playing with my treble strings. So it's, let's say, so here I'm letting these strings ring freely. This is a G7 shape. At the same time, I'm dampening with the basses. So. But this note of D, the thickest 6th string, is open. No dampening, nothing. So that's that little contrast that's going on repeatedly that so I let it ring first and then dampen it, and at the same time let this lick take over and the basses go in the background. Open, dampen. And while I'm doing this lick, I can show you very slowly how I did that. So it's like a. So it's about this very deliberate move from the 3rd fret to the 1st on the 2nd string. I don't pick too hard with my picking hand, but it's a kind of snappy. And then I let this note ring until I play something else. So. Or listen to this. If you listen to early Jolly Hooker, he could very often just keep the. So you get this sus kind of, you play C, but you're in the chord of G. So. Big Joe Williams did that as well, and a couple of other old-timey players, of course. And that's a really nice lick. So I did that. And then the turnaround was the usual. And this is also something that depends on how I'm going to do it. In some cases, I would just do. And then go on playing in G. But in some cases, now I kind of played all strings and it was too kind of majory. It didn't really sound bluesy. But if I do it like, because now I concentrated to hit only the 5th and 4th string. Oh. So I can end up playing D, G and D, 5th and 4th string, or G and G, or like this. So you get the so you get G, D, G. Syncopating. As long as you keep the groove going, you can do anything you want in between. So that's my first piece of advice. As soon as you master the technique, the licks, let's say I showed you this one here. This shouldn't take you more than a couple of days to just, go into that and play it with a very slow pace. And then go. Now. Snap it. This can be a wonderful backup for somebody singing, and you just keep repeating this, dampened or not dampened, higher, lower in volume or whatever. It can be a great lick. And then I also did this, which is tricky on this little guitar. Let's say, not trying to find excuses. Maybe I am, so I don't know. But sometimes I would do it with slide. And this is something I've learned from John Hammond, watching him play. He plays quite heavy strings and with high action. So I was always amazed by, Jesus, how can he play that, right? And then I realized that it's a matter of relaxing your slide finger. So you don't have to hit those notes. You just have to place slide on the right fret. And then you... This is the same lick as if I'm just using the fingers. So, bass. It's a first and a second string fretted. And then you have this lick. Because this is a C, and then you have this. This is C7, just as we have the G, and then 3 frets up is G7. So, see? This can also be a great backup. So, playing C, a chord of C, it's very often that you keep the bass in G. Let's say in this particular case, when I played a C7 up here on the neck, which is your regular C would be here in a standard tuning, right? So in the case of G open, you're getting this wonderful deep and bassy 7th up here. That same octave, but if you play it on a 3rd string on the 3rd fret together with a big bass of G, it's just have this, it's got this wonderful kind of complete it with a nice glide with a slide on the 3rd string, almost to the 4th fret, and then just release it. And there are some nice notes that you can play around this grip of C7. So let's say that's 1. So it's open D string, 1st fret, 2nd, and you meet that with a note of C on the 2nd string, 1st fret. And then you add that 7th and go back to what you were playing in G. Instead of this, you can play it sounds, well, it doesn't sound dissonant. It's not that they don't fit together, because in the key of C there's a note G, but it's usually not the main note, the main bass. If you play the C, it will be like this. That's your C major on the 5th fret here. But if you want to play in the kind of bluesy way, and I guess John Hammond was playing this by fretting and playing it like this, a little bit damp, a little bit of bending, and then he added, and I think I've heard him playing, doing this lick. If you listen to Drop Down Mama with John Hammond, lots of recordings on YouTube, on his albums, and he's using a lick somewhere, something like that. But I kind of developed this other, so I got the lick is actually on the 8th fret, 8th, 7th fret, then the 5th, just kind of pull off here, and then I play the 2nd and 1st string, and then I go back to G. So those were the licks that can kind of, enrich and refine the usual backup that you would do just like by playing. This can also be done dynamically. You can play dampen, not dampen, open. You can let the string ring and all that. But after a certain amount of time, you just kind of spent all you've got by only playing basses and only playing chords and switching between those, which is wonderful if you play with, let's say, 2 other guitar players, because not everybody can play licks in between. So this is mostly to solo musicians, or maybe if you're playing a duo, when you kind of get along well and you know each other and you kind of agree on who's doing what. Many times when you listen to people playing like duos, trios, or whatever, it seems like they're just improvising. It's just they're doing it so naturally, But in many cases, it's a real serious arrangement there behind everything, and they really know what they're doing. Okay, I'll move on in a second. Let's just see. Saw Patrick commenting some here. Mixed audience, greatest challenge. Yeah, main issue is the volume to get it just right. So listening peeps get the full experience from music, and the rest, oh, that's right, and the rest of them hear each other. Okay, let me just bring it back and to resize it so we get enough space here. Right. Give me a second. I like it this way. Good. So when it comes to volume, that's also okay. this could be a tech tips. I always try to make the concept of these live streams that I do live backups. I have a theme that I talk about, and then Q&A about tech or guitar playing. But it's very seldom I get any questions about tech and stuff like that. So when it comes to tech, it's not only if we're using electronic devices, pickups, preamps, pedals, effect processors, or whatever. It's not only that. The tech is also your live sound when it's done by somebody else, not yourself. If you're playing with your own, let's say, microphones into your own PA system, you're your own sound engineer, and of course, you're going to learn how to, use it well and have good live sound. But in those situations when you're in the hands of somebody else, and those hands can be very capable, and sometimes they can be very subjective. Not saying anybody means you bad or something, but sometimes you just wonder, like, what are these people hearing up front? Because what I'm hearing here in the back is not good. And now, an experienced sound engineer would tell me, "Hey, come on, Mac, you can't hear the same thing as we who are the front house engineers." Trust me, when I gained this experience of playing live for 40 plus years, and I've experienced everything from great PAs to bad PAs, I've developed this sense of a good sound out there. I'm not saying the frequencies are maybe perfect in my ears from the stage, but I know exactly what I'm hearing. At the same time, I have my hearing is not 100% anymore because of many years of standing in front of big amps and 412s times 4 and pumping behind you on big scenes sometimes. Not to say that I've played big scenes so often, but when I did it, it was really loud. So I've developed this feel of that it sounds good or doesn't sound good out there. So when it comes to volumes, it means that you set the PA system, the microphones that you're singing through maybe, or the guitars that you're playing through, either with using pickups or using microphones or using those two in combination. That's a tricky one. So if you guys remember Bob Brosman, an amazing American blues musician, blues, jazz, Hawaiian music, he was great at many styles. And he had this wonderful article in the newspapers. I think Milovan sent me latest a copy of that, a PDF of that interview that came out in either Guitar Player magazine or somewhere else. Sorry that I don't remember. Maybe you could remind us, Milovan? Yeah. But anyway, he was very precise in recommending to be aware of a frequency of 250 hertz, which is this nasal lower middles all the way to basses. But that frequency is so tricky when you play with an acoustic guitar in front of a microphone. Even if you have a very good microphone, like let's say Shure SM57, which is industry standard. You can put that thing on drums, you can put it in front of an amplifier. Just look at Woodstock. Joe Cocker sang through that microphone. But it can also be used for an acoustic instrument because it's very directed, it's very narrow capsule, and you can really tailor it to point at the right spot on the guitar neck, not to the sound hole. If you have a round sound hole, never into the sound hole. That's rule number 1. So what we're getting with this, when it comes to volume, you can increase the volume of your mic'd up guitar by like 30-40% if you first place the microphone to the right angle to your, let's say, guitar neck around the 12th fret, and then maybe turned a little bit towards the sound hole, but never really coming on top above it. So that could be your great. And then it comes about input gain. how much you're going to push that microphone with initial volume of the microphone itself. Then that signal goes through the whole channel strip, which means bass, middle, trebles, or whatever you have there in the chain, and then you come to the volume of the channel itself, and then you come to the unity gain, which is the main volume coming out. So if you don't do this well, or the sound engineer doesn't do this well, you won't get that nice headroom where you have so much of a healthy, nice volume of your instrument that you can play relaxed. If you don't hear yourself, if the gain is too low, if something's, you get the, feedback or something, you will pick harder. Even if they just don't know how to set up monitors, and they say, oh, this is the highest you can get in the monitor, sorry, otherwise we'll get feedback. And then lots of musicians say like, yeah, okay, thank you, no problem, yeah. And then they play with much more tension, they pick harder. And when you pick harder, you lose so much of the dynamics of playing. It's just incredible. So when we talk about this whole chain of placing the microphone right, putting the right input gain. I'm doing the same thing here in this live stream. I have a certain amount of input gain on the microphone that's above my head, which needs to be tailored so that I don't have to come too close to it. I know that I have a nice headroom of going left, right, a little bit back and forth, and I'm not going to lose like a lot of my volume, but I know that the best volume is around here. So this is the ideal position. Then that signal goes into the rest of the chain, gets a little bit of effects, which is kind of gate effect, which means that when I'm silent, the microphone closes. And that's in order to prevent, let's say, my smacking effects. And if I just, if I'm careful when I'm speaking to you guys, if I just take care of this, let's say that I don't open my mouth like this each time I'm about to say something, that's something you learn, but it's also dependent on what kind of microphone you have, how much of an input gain you're using. Are you using compression? Are you using this gate effect? Are you using low pass filter, high pass filter? Lots of very crazy expressions, but getting to know them, it's quite easy nowadays when you have YouTube. You have magazines writing about this. It's whoever wants to learn about these things can easily do it. 25, 30 years ago, it wasn't so accessible, and that's it. That's a fact. So whoever gets, bad live sound and comes down from the stage and says, man, this sound guy doesn't know shit. He can't do his job and whatever. Well, you are the artist. You should be able to communicate with a good sound engineer. If nothing else, if you're using pickups and something, you can just stand beside him. Just buy a really long cable for your sound checks and come to the mixing console and do the dialing of the sound together with a sound engineer. Well, the most important part is to make friends with them prior to a gig. Come and say hi. How are you? Thank you for doing my sound tonight, or whatever. Not to, lick their asses, but just to be a good colleague. We're on the same job, right? So I'm kind of waving now, going away from the subject. The subject is that volume that Patrick mentioned. And the volume is that when I know I have a good gain, let's just test that gain. I will play now so softly on my guitar that would be my absolute minimum level, so that it's going to be audible for you guys. So this is this. I'm sure that you still hear it, right? When I play like this, I'm just hitting a little bit of green area on my input gain meter here on my mixing console, which I will now demonstrate for you guys, because why do we buy so many cameras and why do we have those cameras if we don't use them? So here's a demonstration. Let's see now. This would be, let's see, how can I point it? Up there, you see that little thing around with the number 47? And this is from my guitar. So my guitar microphones, which are down here in front of me. So those two are reflected in the mixing console here. And now just pick with my left hand, just so you can see how these meters are reacting. This is a very now low level. I'll pick harder. Right, so I'm never going to that red area. Very seldom. If I only pick very hard, I will get to that area, which is a no-no, right? So, so the thing with this volume, when we say volume, which means it's a good starting point that you know that people hear you, even if you play your softest and nicest, because there will be moments when I want to. I think I'll just change to the backup, to the theme cutout, so that I know afterwards when I'm watching this where I was in the live stream to make my chapter markers. You can find it as well. So what I mean with this is like when I play very softly like this. So that way you can play so dynamically and snappy, and you're rest assured that even your lowest and higher volumes, or picking strength of your, let's say, picking fingers, is going to be accommodated. So everything is there. The reason we're using compressors, and I'm not using too much compression on this microphone, and that's why sometimes I get a little bit too much of push in the guitar sound here, but it's usually only with this little guitar, which is very strong, very mid-rangey, and it's a beast when you play it into a microphone. As soon as you get like in the groove of playing or something, it's like exploding. So anyway, the compressors are something that even helps even more to even out that audio that you're sending out, which means your lowest portions, when you really play softly, are going to be raised just a little bit, a touch. There are also some settings on compressors where you can make sure that ratio is not too aggressive, that you have the compressor respond naturally to your playing. And the settings for compressor can never be the same for everybody. It's a lot about the style of playing, style of singing when it comes to the microphone and all that. So I do have a little bit of compression on my vocal mic or my speaker microphone. That's because I don't have a radio voice. I have lots of air in my voice, and sometimes I sound quite hoarse because either I've been talking all day or I've been singing all day, and you need that little push of the compressor so that I can relax and talk to you guys for an hour without just losing my voice totally. So I see another question coming in, and I see Jonas, hello, great to see you. Large diaphragm, where do you stand on large diaphragm microphones? To me, those give a very natural sound from a small ensemble without too much tweaking. Oh yes, they do, but they're so prone to feedback in live situation that it's incredible. So those crave their either sound engineer or the distance between the microphones and the speakers, the loudspeakers that are turned towards the audience. Usually, there's this stage in the city of Malmö here in Sweden, Victoria Theatre, a wonderful place, and they have fantastic acoustic right from the start. It's an old theater. It's high in the ceiling, lots of wood, fantastic stage, everything. And there I've seen some people play with these I don't remember the name, but those new modern microphones with a kind of large 1-inch diaphragm mic capsule that's like in front of them, and then you have this little metal ring around them, and then they're kind of quite thin in the body, and they can accommodate like 5 people playing acoustic music. I've seen bluegrass bands play with that microphone, and then just come towards it when they're about to play a solo and or sing something more deliberately. They come closer and all that. Those microphones have an amazing dynamic range and everything. They're just perfect for that. I have a couple of large diaphragm microphones at home, and I use them for recordings. On one occasion, if you guys watch my videos on YouTube where I play with Maria Stilla, Delmore Sessions, those recordings were made with only one microphone, large diaphragm, very cheap microphone called SL or SP, bought many years ago, and that microphone is really good. So we just found a nice place to have it in front of us. It was a little bit lower, so because your voice is always going to be louder than the guitar, acoustic guitar. If you're not playing rasophonic, and if you're not playing with very heavy strings, and if you're not playing with, these finger picks, metal finger picks and thumb pick, and that really sounds much louder than an average acoustic guitar. But in any case, that's what we did, and we put it a little bit lower than our mouths, let's say, right? So it sounded good. We have a very good balance between guitars and voices, and I was amazed afterward. I was just like, okay, well, we'll just put it there, because they recorded with other microphones around us, but they were not visible in the frame when the camera was filming. So we thought, okay, we'll use either or. Then we just said, no, this sound is great. One microphone, mono, doesn't matter. So very old-timey way of recording. So yes, large diaphragm microphones can be really great. G. Albert, hey Mac, do you have a separate set of gas at home versus on the road? Gear acquisition syndrome? Or what do you mean by gas? Albert, explain yourself, sir. Oh yes, Jonas, thank you. Ear Trumpet Labs microphones. Yes, they are fantastic. And they are quite affordable when it comes to these, professional level microphones. Sometimes they start at $1,500, $2,000. It's expensive stuff. I've never bought a microphone that costed more than $1,000. not even close to that. My most expensive mic, this one I'm using now, Earthworks, RS314. It's a microphone that can be used for both singing live and in studio, and it's got a very good. The reason I bought it is because it's equally good, very close to your mouth and at a moderate distance. Usually dynamic microphones or even condenser microphones that should be a little bit more sensitive, they give you lots of nice deep basses when you're very close to them, but as soon as you go further away, it's going to be thinner. SM58 is an example of that, because if you use SM58 to sing through and just move it a little bit like this, it's not going to sound the same. It would with one man, BB King. There was this festival gig or something. It's on YouTube. I'm gonna quit. What's the name of the song? I'm gonna buy me a tombstone. I'm gonna be pronounced dead. Anyway, very slow blues, and he starts singing with more than a half a meter away from the microphone, and sings very loud with his voice. But that man had an enormous voice, and I will tell you one thing as well. That sound engineer was live mixing him, because when he came a little bit closer later on during the song, you just felt, if you're a musician and you've been working with PA systems, you know how things work. You will be aware that they were mixing live. So he was maybe increasing the input gain as he was starting singing, being further away from the microphone. And, that's that effect to do that. So while I'm waiting for the reply from Albert about this gas, I think you mean gear acquisition syndrome. Yes, sometimes. Not when it comes to guitars, not the instruments. I can see the best Martin guitar, in the world in the hands of an amazing artist, and I still don't get the urge of getting that guitar, which I did when I was younger. When I was, I don't know, 20 to 30, somewhere there, I could just go crazy about a guitar somebody was playing and that sounded great, and I have that guitar. I'm going to be that good if I just buy that guitar, which is not true, of course. So when it comes to guitars, maybe only a couple of old-timey Gibson models, 30s, 40s, 50s Gibson guitars. But that's also quite natural because sanding guitars are very much based the way they're built, and their shapes and lots of other aspects are very resemblant of old Gibsons. So Michael learned a lot from how Gibson guitars were made. So it's not that strange. So trust me, I'm not going to buy any more guitars in my life apart from maybe one of the Gibsons. Yeah. All right, Albert is back. He says, gears, same amp at your home studio versus at the venue, same for instruments. If yes, I'm assuming that may be a challenge. Actually, well, yes and no, depends. I'm using the same Roland AC90 acoustic amplifier that I've had for, I don't know how many, maybe 20 years. As soon as it showed up on the market, I went to the local store here in town of Helsingborg. I tried it for like 10 minutes. I said, I'm getting this. Well, give me a good price. That was it. And I've never looked back. And when it comes to acoustic guitar, that amp has been my, working horse. I took it with me to guitar trade shows when I was hired as a, demo guitar player for Tanglewood guitars, for sanding guitars. I worked with Roland a lot, and even when they have had new amplifiers that I was hired to test and demonstrate, I still had my own amplifier with me, and to kind of show the difference in sounds, and maybe okay, the same guitar on two amplifiers of the same manufacturer, made with maybe 20-25 years of age in between them. Let's see how they sound, how they compare, and people love those kinds of comparisons. So yes, I usually take everything the same that I have at home to play on the road. Sometimes I go crazy at home and really play on high volumes, not so high as what I would play live, but yeah, I do that actually. And the instruments are absolutely the same that I play at home and take with me on the road. Sometimes you're kind of limited with how many guitars you can take with you, and sometimes it's, let's say when I play with Maria, who plays one guitar on stage and sings, it's a little bit of an overkill if I travel with 4 guitars to play our program, which is 2 long sets, and we play many songs in different tunings, and it would be okay to play with 4 guitars, but I just think it's an overkill, and I usually travel with 2 guitars for those kinds of gigs. When I play solo, let's say this summer on this summer festival in Sweden in Åmål, I'm gonna definitely take with me 3 guitars, and the 4th is gonna be in the case ready. Let's say the baritone guitar. So it's gonna be my metal guitar, my main sander guitar, which I'm going to be picking up now because I want to play you something else to demonstrate this thing with refining, not making complicated things that you play. Let me do that. So to be honest, I could do like Sam Mitchell did. He took one guitar with him, and he told me, if you guys are not familiar with Sam Mitchell, I'm sorry, I'm just talking to you guys who are always here, but maybe somebody's totally new around here in this live stream. So Sam Mitchell was a fantastic British guitar player and musician who both sang and played, and he was an incredible slide guitar player. He just took one guitar with him and he retuned if he needed. That was it. Of course, he had 5 or 6 guitars at home, and in his case, Albert, you'd be right, because he did something else. At home, he played with a little amplifier. On the road, he would play either on a little bit bigger amplifier that we took with us, because we had exactly 2 same amplifiers on the stage, or he would play either Super Reverb or Princeton Reverb by Fender when he played with the bands. And then he would also take, the electric guitar, whatever. But on his solo gigs, you would expect that he would come to this gig at Mojo Copenhagen, which was like, 5 minutes ride from his home. You would expect that he would take at least like 2, 3 guitars. No, he just took one and retuned it. Like, if you want to hear me, you're going to wait until I'm tuned. It's like, yeah, okay, that's great. But I was always like, oh, I have to take 3 guitars with me, because I don't want to spend time in between songs retuning or whatever. And I know some guitars sound amazing with slide and in open G and open D. So it's like, yeah. So I'm taking this guitar with me, my metal guitar, and probably the baritone. And then the 4th guitar could maybe either a little lap steel that I have by National that I maybe play on a couple of songs if I really feel like it, because I'm not really good at it. It's more that it's a groove and it's a different sound or whatever. So when it comes to refine and not over-complicating, the best example for that would be a moderate shuffle. So I've demonstrated this several times before, but I didn't talk about this in detail, and I didn't maybe emphasize just the importance of playing sparingly at times, and then doing some things that refine but don't complicate too much. So without really knowing what I'm gonna do, because these things are kind of more for your money than you buy wholesale. I do more business when I serve retail. Wholesale dealer daddy, don't you know? Wholesale dealer daddy, don't you know? I'm a wholesale dealer mama, but I retail on the side. If I was in a business long before I was born, now he's retired, I got to carry on. I'm a wholesale dealer daddy, don't you know? Wholesale dealer daddy, don't you know? I'm a wholesale dealer mama, but I retail on the side. And so on and so on. So let's say this is a song that's not a Chicago blues shuffle. It's a shuffle, but it's the way a shuffle in the way that Brownie McGee used to play it, which I didn't copy him 200%, but it was played with using some of his grips and chord shapes and some syncopations that he was so famous for, and I was really studying him in detail. So when it comes to playing this kind of shuffle as a backup, so it's not about Chicago shuffle would be it's a lot of it's a bit more punchy. I wouldn't say aggressive, but okay, now I'm in this kind of Brownie McGee shape. So he was pinching a lot together with his basses and these treble strings. This is a modification of how Brownie used to play. So slowly done. base of this rhythm is 1, 2, 3, 4, which means on the bass is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, twice each. But then you kind of eliminate some of these basses in order to play something else, maybe to incorporate a chord. And this all evolved from me playing this over and over and over again and singing this song, and then having an amazing harmonica player to my side who would play on top of me, behind me, under me, in front of me, and then being able to deliver an amazing solo as well. So I had all the freedom of somebody who's really pumping that rhythm together with me, so I wasn't dependent on that to keep these basses all the time. I would use just the basses, at times in the same song, but usually it was something there in between. So if I would do this very slowly and sing, I will show you where this kind of refinement moments can come in, which is like a more for your money than you buy wholesale, which is in between vocal phrases. So more for your money than you buy wholesale. Wholesale dealer daddy, don't you know? Wholesale dealer daddy, don't you know? I'm a wholesale dealer mama, but I retail on the side. So refining the arrangement doesn't always mean that you absolutely always have to play something in between these vocal phrases, but sometimes it just calls for it. Sometimes it's like, wow, and it doesn't have to be very complicated. You don't have to play another solo behind your own singing. It can be just, instead of only playing this could be a really nice basic accompaniment, like I could sing the whole verse with this, but it will have to be the very first verse when I just start playing the song. I would maybe honor Brown and McGee and Sony A7III by maybe doing a intro like now more for your money than you buy wholesale. I do more business when I sell retail. Wholesale dealer daddy, don't you know? Wholesale dealer daddy, don't you know? I'm a wholesale dealer mama, but I retail on the side. Now, my father was in a business long before I was born. So that's where I would put these things. You kind of refine by letting it be very simple in the beginning, and then kind of add a little bit of the stuff you're doing in between the vocal lines. And the more sparingly do you play while you're singing, your solo is not going to be that demanding. Your solo can be just something a step ahead or above what you've played in your nice and refined backup. So if you listen to Brown and McGee's solos when he would play them, they were so complex in their simplicity. He would do like a come back to singing. I don't know, sorry, electric guitar players, don't get me wrong. Electric guitar players would play solo here. They would play single note runs, and some of them would play these. They would know these these licks, but they wouldn't take care of the basses because that's not the nature of playing electric guitar in the band setup. If you play solo and you play electric guitar and you play fingerstyle, then of course you're gonna maybe play like Robert Jr. Lockwood or Johnny Shines or some of the old masters that didn't play acoustic anymore further, on in their lives and in their careers. Let's say, I think Robert Jr. Lockwood started playing electric, I don't know, when he was in his 30s, 40s, and that's it. His early recordings in the 40s were done on an acoustic guitar, but then he just moved on to play electric. But he played it the acoustic way. He always played fingerstyle. He didn't play with a pick, almost never, if I know. I'm just throwing away these kind of statements that I think are correct, but I'm not sure. So just take them with a grain of salt. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but yeah, that's my opinions anyway. All right. Hola, Spanish Attack. Hello, great. Silver City bound, gonna meet Blind Lemon. We're city bound. Gonna meet Blind Lemon. Gonna ride on town. Yes. That song is in works, definitely. I think I'm gonna be playing it in open G, although it's gonna be like Silver City bound. See, a little bit high pitch for my voice. But that's also another thing. When it comes to live gigs, all of a sudden you can sing higher, in higher registers than when you're at home. It's in my case anyway. So I think I'll do it in open G because there are some great slide runs that I've found and nice melodies around it, and I love the groove. So that's almost done. Great, Tom. Great. So guys, we are way past the hour, 20 hour and 14 minutes. I'm sorry for taking up too much of your time. I'm trying to do this within an hour, but damn. I like talking, I like playing, and you guys are so great, and yeah, so I'm really enjoying this. But next week is going to be live stream number 98. And we're heading towards 100th live stream, which is going to be a special one, as I told you before. So yeah. Anyway, that was it for today. Thank you so much for coming. Don't forget you can contact me on my socials and just see what I'm doing, what I'm up to. Then I will see you next week, and I hope you enjoy yourself. Have a great rest of your week, and cheers. Slide on.
It was in spring, one sunny day. My sweetheart left me, now she went away. Now she's gone, and I don't worry, but I'm sitting on top of the world. Things could call me up, down and out by soul. Said, come back, Daddy, Lord, I need you so. Now she's gone, and I don't worry, 'cause I'm sitting on top of the world. don't like my peaches, don't you shake my tree. Get out of my orchard, let my peaches be. Now she's gone, I don't worry, but I'm sitting on top of the world. Spring, one sunny day, my sweetheart left me, now she went away. Now she's gone, I don't worry, but I'm sitting on top of the world. Now she's gone, I don't worry,